Hello everyone, this is Yufi Mariukaya and I will be doing a video presentation of our study in the chapter 1, wherein our study topic is the development of permanent markers ink using coffee grinds. The chapter 1 of our study contains the background of the study, statement of the problem, research objectives, significance of the study, theoretical framework, conceptual framework, scope and delimitation, as well as the operational definition of terms. So let me start with the background of the study. Many people are using markers every day, especially the teachers and students at the school. But because of the pandemic and the temporary closing of the schools, the number of the people using markers are decreasing and people are really having hard time earning money. Permanent markers loses its ink so fast and the people using it are always buying a new one. In order to avoid buying a new one, we need to find something that will help us save money but at the same time help us in our teaching and learning skills. Moreover, according to Candice in 2017, that before synthetic ink was primarily made from plant dyes, which you can still make today. Different plants procedure different dye and ink colors, so be sure to choose a plant that produces a color you like before you make your ink. Additionally, coffee plants are a kind of plant that produces coffee beans which can be made as coffee grinds in order for us to make coffee drinks. Furthermore, it can be used as an alternative ink for permanent markers because it produces dark brown color, which is a great color for the ink of a permanent marker. Finally, this study also aims to make an alternative permanent markers ink that is pocket-friendly, nature-friendly, and the ink's odor is not that strong. So, let's proceed to the statement of the problem. This study also aims to know the development of the permanent markers ink using coffee grinds as well as the quality and effectiveness of it in teaching and learning of the respondents at Iligan Medical Center College Basic Educational Department at Iligan City, Lanao del Norte. Specifically, it attempted to answer the following questions. Number 1. How was the quality of the permanent markers ink made from coffee grinds? Number 2. How was the texture of permanent markers ink made from coffee grinds when written in a paper, cartolina, and etc.? Number 3. How was the development of permanent marker ink using coffee grinds in teaching? Number 4. How was the development of permanent marker ink using coffee grind in learning? And number 5. Is there a significant relationship between the respondents' teaching and learning of the development of permanent markers ink using coffee grind? Then, let's go to the objectives of the study. This study aimed, first, to develop an alternative ink of the permanent marker using coffee grinds. Second, to assess the developed alternative ink specifically with the use of coffee grinds. And third, to determine the quality and effectiveness of the permanent marker using coffee grinds in teaching and learning. Okay, in the significance of the study, this study is considered beneficial to the following: the administrators, teachers, parents, students, and the future researchers. So, let me proceed to the theoretical framework of the study. There are a number of theories that have been postulated to explain the development of permanent marker using coffee grinds. But for this research study, only 3 was discussed, and these are the multiple intelligences, bodily kinesthetic intelligence by Howard Gardner, and the law of effect and exercise by Edward Thorndike. Now, let me discuss the conceptual framework of the study wherein the input is the making of an alternative permanent markers ink made from coffee grinds of an instant coffee. On the other side, the process being used is through rating scale, a quantitative survey specifically to assess the development of the whiteboard marker using coffee grinds in teaching and learning. The output of this study is to validate if the development of the whiteboard marker ink using coffee grinds has a great benefits and effectiveness to the respondents' teaching and learning. I am done with the conceptual framework, so let me proceed to the operational definition of terms. Let me start to the alternative, wherein it refers to the choices limited to one of the 2 or more types of inks one will choose to use. Second, to the coffee grinds, wherein it is the main ingredient used in making an alternative permanent markers ink that basically came from coffee grinds of instant coffees. Third, to the experimental, wherein it refers to the study which involves 2 sets of variables where researchers manipulate one or more variables and controls or measures any changes in other variables. Fourth, to the innovation, wherein it is the process of making changes to the kind of permanent markers ink with different ingredients to use aside from what are already known. Fifth, to the odor, wherein it is the degree of how strong a smell is. Sixth, to the pocket-friendly, wherein it is the cost of the product is not expensive and is rather affordable that considers the possible consumer's capability to buy or budget. 7. To the usable, wherein it is the capable of being used in any instances by teachers, students, and many other users of markers that contains homemade ink. 8. To the permanent markers ink, wherein it is the main product of this study which will be used from coffee grinds of instant coffees.
Hello everyone, I am Fatma Saliha Mapuno. I will be talking about the RRL, or also known as Chapter 2. Since the study focuses on using coffee grinds as an alternative ink for permanent marker, for this chapter we have looked for studies and researches related to our topic, so the contents of our research will be understood better. So the first one is, what is instant coffee? According to Joanna Daughter, instant coffee is a type of coffee made from dried coffee extract, although it is more concentrated. The second one is just smelling a coffee can give you a brain boost. This is a new study published in the Journal of Environmental Psychology. 114 undergraduate business students were asked to take the GMAT, or Graduate Management Aptitude Test. Participants who were in the room filled with the scent of coffee disclosed that they felt emboldened by the coffee smell as soon as they walked in the room. Since students had high expectations of themselves, they scored significantly higher than the students who were in a room without the aroma. It's clear that the smell created a placebo effect. It's also possible that their past experiences with coffee boosted their alertness, creating an olfactory association with its benefits. The third one is, what is contained in permanent markers. According to Pasquesi, all markers contain basic ingredients that make up markers. It is mainly composed of three elements: the colorant, the solvent, and the resin. Colorant gives the ink its specific color, solvent to dissolve and transport the ink through the sponge, resin to ensure that the ink colorant sticks to the surface once the solvent dissolves. The biggest difference in permanent and non-permanent markers is in the resin. In permanent marker, they use resin that's very non-polar and doesn't dissolve in water at all. But non-permanent markers use resins that easily dissolves in water. The health effects reported by adults using markers, according to Health Schools Network Incorporated: blurred vision, severe congestion, ringing in the ear, headache, dizziness, difficulty concentrating, drowsiness, nausea, and more were reported by a researcher in 2003. The ingredients in markers, the proximity to markers fumes and concentration of fumes present, and the duration of exposure. In this study, the respondents who are benefited can have an idea that will help them save money in this kind of situation, an idea that is not non-hazardous and helps improve teaching and learning skills inside the classroom. The result will be observed at the end of the study. That's all for Chapter 2. Thank you and God bless.
Hello everyone, I am Liven Shoy Ermak, and I will be talking about the research methodology, or the chapter 3 of our study. So this time I'll be talking about the subjects of the study, wherein there will be 12 teachers and 28 students from IMCC BED overall. And then the research design will be experimental and descriptive research design, since the researchers will be conducting the experiment in order to observe the quality of the product. Then data gathering procedure is about the making of the product, like the permanent markers ink, and assessing its quality by testing it through the instruments will be used, like those any kinds of paper, and the rating scales that are made in order for the respondents to answer, and those answers that are being taken from the respondents will be analyzed through getting the average, which is the average points of each question, and item analysis. And data analysis will be quantitative method of analysis in order to determine whether the product is effective or not, which is the main goal of the researchers in the study. And lastly is the coding of data, where the researchers will be using codes or symbols in order to hide the identity of those respondents that participates that participated in this study, like S for students and T for teachers. Thank you, that's all.
So to start the development of permanent markers ink using coffee grinds, here are the following ingredients needed for this research. First is Nescafe Classic 2 grams black coffee, Venus fast dye powder color brown, syringe, water, boiled or hot, permanent marker without ink or neither filament, but it is recommendable to use Flex Office permanent marker and small container. After making the ink, the researchers observed the ink that they made. They tested it in a cartolina paper and bond papers, and it is effective. It is also tested in shiny surfaces like packaging tape, cellophane, or whiteboard surfaces, and it will get wiped off easily, but it will leave a stain, so it is not effective on shiny surfaces. Only in rough surfaces like paper, cartolina, bond papers, and many more. Based on their observation, the color of the coffee itself is not enough to produce a dark color, so the researchers used the Jubus powder to make it more darker. The color of the Jubus powder that they use is color brown, the same as the color of the coffee. Based on the experience of the researchers while doing the experiments, the flow of the ink differs or depends on the markers you're using. Some of the markers are not compatible with the ink, which is why it won't work. But in our case, we use the Flex Office permanent marker, and that marker is refillable and compatible with the ink. As a result of the test, wait for 5 minutes to let the ink flow to the tip of the marker until it's ready to use. The researchers also observed the odor and the quality of the ink. Based on their observation, the odor of the ink is the same as the coffee, which is why it didn't give an annoying odor like the marker we used to. Also, the quality of the ink is good enough that can be seen in the naked eye, even from the students sitting at the back of their classrooms. As we all know, that the respondents of this study are the students and the teachers because they are more exposed to this kind of product. So the researchers made the two sets of questionnaires. The set 1 is for the teachers and the second set is for the learners. And after the survey that they conduct by giving the rating scales for the respondents, here are the results of their survey. The first set for the teachers, it has a grand mean of 2.67, which is rated for very good. It only means that the ink passes for the teachers. And for the learners, it has a grand mean of 2.75, which is given for an interpretation of excellent. It only means that it also passes for the students, and the students approve for the ink. The two grand mean was combined together and so to get the final mean, and got the final average of 2.71, which is interpreted for very good. It only means that the ink was effective and can be used for teachers and students at school. Based on the researches that the researchers done, it is concluded that using permanent markers ink made from coffee grinds is effective and can be used as an alternative ink for permanent markers. It is also concluded that using coffee grinds as permanent markers ink can help improve the performance of the teachers and learners inside the classroom. It is also concluded that using this kind of ink can help teachers and students to save money because it doesn't cost too much and it's not pricey like the usual ink that we buy at stores. For the recommendations, this research is highly recommended for teachers and students who are more exposed to this kind of product by using it inside the school. It's also recommended for parents and future researchers. It is also recommended to use because it can help you save money. save money than buying a usual bottle of ink, which costs more. While using this ink, it is also recommended to use this only in rough surfaces that absorb ink so fast, like cartolina papers, bond papers, because it doesn't work on shiny surfaces like whiteboards, cellophanes, or any more shiny surface. And lastly, this ink is recommended as an alternative ink for mark.